Welcome back, guys, to Walnut Street Podcast. This is episode number 5. My name is Tyler, your host. We have a very special guest for you today. He's an entrepreneur, a business leader in our community named Matt Smith. Before we get started in this episode, be sure to hit that subscribe button, the like button, share button. So thanks for tuning in.
I'm ready when you are.
Okay.
Talking's not my short. I'm not short talking. So
I've kind of heard that you are quite the talker, which is cool.
Yeah, there won't be a lot of silence.
That's good. What is up, Matt? It's so good to have you on the podcast today. Episode number 5, man.
Appreciate the invite.
Man, it's so good. I don't really know a whole lot about you, which is cool.
Right.
But you were referred by a great friend, so I assume that you're going to share some pretty cool stuff today. But before you get to all of that, your story, give us a little background who you are.
Business owner here in town. Had my own construction business now for over 20 years. Bought the lumber yard here in town about 13 years ago.
What's the name of the lumber yard?
France Lumber here
France
in
Lumber.
Manchester. Yep. Little thing on that, left the name the same. It's been in the family for years. Not my family, but the France family was a great family. Did great things for the community, and so I left the name really on purpose. Felt like if I put my own name up there, it'd be a pride thing. Mm-hmm. I'd have a little trouble with that on Sunday mornings. So I still have a little pride when I hear it. You know, I smile, but I feel like I can share that with something that was already there. So I've explained that to my kids as we got as they've gotten older. Why doesn't it say Smith on
Why doesn't it say Smith,
Why
Dad?
doesn't it say Smith on there? And so I explained it to each one of them. So a nice lesson to get to pass on. So.
Sure.
Pride's a big challenge for men. Period.
Oh, for sure.
To get out of the way so we can share the Lord's word.
Oh, I know that's right. Ego is a big thing. Even for me personally, it's like I read a book one time, and it's by Brennan Manning, one of my favorite authors. But he says this: the first thing we have to let go as men is our ego.
Oh yeah,
let it go.
Good luck with that.
I know, right? Yeah, it's very challenging.
Yeah. So. Without a little pride, you can't get anywhere.
Oh, yep. And too much pride.
Too much, you'll go nowhere you're supposed to be going.
I know, that's right. Yeah, that's good. So the business owner, France Lumber, family. I know you were a family man.
Yep. Wife Elizabeth, 22 years this year. So.
Oh, wow.
Just getting ready to have another anniversary we just had it on the 4th. So I had a back surgery about 2.5 weeks ago.
Okay.
So, got a little bit of a fog there for a week, a lot of painkillers. I stayed in the house for a week, and I don't like that. So, but I'm back up and about. So, got a little stipulations as far as lifting and can't bend, can't do anything fun. So, for another few weeks, but it went well. Praise Jesus. I had a lot of numbness in a lot of different areas, and that has already cleared up most of that, and the pain, most of it's gone. So, something I've been battling for years and years.
What was it? I mean,
so I had a nerve got pinched when I was 19 in a motorcycle accident. I didn't know till I was about 38 that's what it was. Just always thought it was pain from the accident.
Okay. So you living with pain for a while.
Yeah, but I'm not but if you live with it, you don't know any different. I'm hoping that now that some of that's released, I'll be more sunshiny and maybe a little, just a little more pause before I answer. So.
Sure. Now it's time to get you on the track and run a little bit, right?
Right. Yeah. As soon as another couple weeks here, I'm gonna feel great. So.
Yeah, that's cool, man. So married to Elizabeth for many years.
Yeah, too many. So that's what she'd say. So
too many.
Daughter's 17, senior in high school. She's the goalie for the soccer team, and she plays basketball also.
Who's an amazing athlete.
I'm sure. And she works at it.
Yeah.
So we weren't given, never going to be the fastest. I can carry 2 buckets of feed at full speed. I passed that on to everybody but my youngest child. But she tries hard, got a lot of heart, and so that's really all you can ask.
Yeah.
So. We weren't born with any kind of vertical whatsoever, but we are hard to move off our spot. So,
that's good.
So I tried to teach her everything I could from where you need to be is your feet down. If I catch you jumping, I'm gonna. It's just wrong. You can't jump. She said, what do you mean? Every time your feet go up, your arms come down, honey. That's just the way it is. Gravity works against us. So
that's so cool.
And she's caught on. She's figured out if she stays where she's put, she does real good.
Yeah. So married man, a father, a business owner. What is it like to run a business in a small community like this? Because for those of you who don't know, we live in a community of what, 5,000 people, 6,000?
About 7 in town here.
Okay, 7,000 people. We growing. Let's go.
Yeah. So,
okay.
Really good. You got to please everybody. That's the goal. You're never going to get that done. Everybody's ever been on a church board, they know all about that. But you just go out there and you have to be honest, because you're going to have to tell somebody again. So your actions make a big difference. What you tell people, you got to follow through, even if you don't want to.
Yeah.
I've ate a lot of crow. I went out and done a lot of things for free because I told them I was going to do it. And so, and I can find you a long list of people that would stand up for that. So there's always going to be somebody that's not happy with you, and you got to be able to let that go too. I had an older fellow that was a great carpenter, great man, Lemoyne Gimmer. He asked me one day, he says, Matt, he says, how in the world do you sleep at night? And I said, what do you mean? And I said, I'm usually tired, and I get home. He says, I'm sure you're tired. He says, but man, when I used to build houses, I'd be so worried. There'd be nights I wouldn't sleep at all if this wasn't going to work, if I couldn't get it the day before. And I said, I never had any trouble with that. That night I laid awake. I'll tell you this. I laid awake and I did some praying, and I came back the next day and I told Lemoyne, I said, hey man, we're not doing that again.
Yeah.
And so, and I don't, I try to finish it during the day and try to leave it and go to bed. So.
Sure. I guess, trying to employ people has to be difficult. I mean, post-COVID, everything's like more difficult, but what's it like trying to employ people?
Well, it's kid gloves, which isn't the way I was raised. It's not the way I like to do things, but is what we have to do today. There's still some great people that want to do great things. Most of those people today are working for themselves. So what I'm trying to do is partner with those younger guys that want to do construction and carpentry work and try to help them build their business, and then hope they'll remember, where they need to get to come back and ask questions. I've got a lot of guys that used to work for me that will call me and ask me questions, and I just love answering those questions. Again, not as much of some of that's pride, but some of it's more like almost like a father thing,
Sure.
And I remember that from the older guys, and I asked all the questions, Again, I'm not short on words, so I can work. A second boss of mine said, I can't believe anyone can talk that much and still work right through it. And so I do not have to pause to conversate, and I can keep full conversation in and out, the pauses, and I know that work's more important in the two. So,
sure.
There is a few times I'll stop, especially with these younger kids. I'll stop if they got some. And I've tried to lead them in the right directions. I'm not one that, it'll be funny if you fall off this cliff. I try to cut them a break, and but I don't know if that's helping or not. We sure are growing some soft men, in my opinion.
Yeah,
so.
I don't think you're wrong there. I think you're completely 100% true. Soft men, and we don't mean that in like we're trying to be mean or hateful. Right. It's my grandpa was the one who instilled the work ethic in me. I mean, he taught me how to work.
Right.
And if it wasn't for my grandpa teaching me that, I don't know how I would have functioned, because I found out most of my success has come not because I'm gifted or I'm highly skilled or smart or intelligent. It's because I'm the hardest worker in the daggone room.
Right.
It's just the way it is.
Yeah, same scenario. Dad was mine. Dad, my grandmother, my mom too, hard workers. So there was never considered stopping before we were done. Never considered not finishing.
Yeah.
A long time ago, Dad asked. It was like New Year's Eve or Christmas Eve. Maybe it was Christmas Eve, and we were like, we'd like to go to the house, and and Dad was like, well, we could grind feed tonight, so we don't have to do it tomorrow, or we could just wait till tomorrow. And of course, my brother and I both jumped on, let's do it tomorrow. We've never had an option before.
Yeah.
And then he gave us this little story about how he'd done that, and how if you do it today, then tomorrow's free, and you could do something you wanted to do tomorrow, which for him was always work more. So that never really changed, but he loved work. And so he instilled that in me. Since this back here the last couple of weeks, I'm watching people do things that I physically can't get a hold of, and it is driving me nuts.
Sure.
I'm kind of telling them and trying to walk away because I'm so used to reaching my hand out and holding it for them, or adjusting or getting them started. It is challenging.
Yeah. So what do you think is the missing element in the generations when it comes to being motivated and driven to just work?
Well, to learn how to work, you have to do that. Today in this world, we don't have a lot of manual work that needs done.
True.
I think and I also think no more than we have. The fathers say, go out and mow the lawn. We all got riding mowers today. Why? Those kids can push mow that lawn. I had a kid the other day that, he was 4 blocks away and he didn't know how he was going to get there.
A walk?
Yeah, right. God gave you 2 feet. My
Yeah.
father said numerous times, walking ain't crowded, son. You know, it was always for the other reason, you know,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I would have never considered. I'd have just started. Then I've got other examples of young men. The Bergman family taught how to work. Just it's instilled in them. There's not a bad one. I take any of them any day, and they're great to be around.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's so many. I've had great employees. I've had great men. I wish I would have been a better leader when I was younger.
Sure.
Because I would have been able to do maybe more with them and less for me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I can remember when you talked about lawn mowing, you know, that was my first entrepreneur
sure.
job. I was mowing people's yards, and all I had was this little push mower. But I took on a job across the neighborhood. I lived in Disco,
Okay.
and it was over an acre lot that I was push mowing just to make like $20, you
Right.
know. But it was like you just felt empowered. You know, this is my own business, and I remember riding a lawnmower about a mile down the road and holding on to the mower behind me,
Right,
you know, the
right.
push mower, and going to another yard. Like, we're missing that. And even with my kids, I don't push my kids like that. Like,
Right.
I probably should, you know.
I leaned mine a little bit. When I was the first money I ever made was mowing grandma's yard, push mowing.
Mm-hmm.
I got $13 for 3 hours of push mowing. If you ran, you could get it done in 2.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but it was $13. It started out 11, then I got a raise. But then I took that check down to the Shell station, and then he would cash it for me, and he'd count out I got it in ones, baby.
Yeah.
1 of 10, and
Yeah.
I got it in ones, and I wasn't allowed to buy anything with it. I had to take it home and save it. I was probably 11 or 12, you know. But we worked every day on the farm. But now I got paid to mow grandma's lawn, so. That was a big deal. Something you planned ahead for, scheduled for.
Oh, yeah.
And she got one of those lawnmowers that pulls themselves. Use a mulching. She thought this was the best thing, and it was terrible because it was twice as heavy, and the thing didn't go fast enough.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But you know, that was lots of things learned that way. My son actually has his own little lawn mowing business that he started mowing. I make him do the math. I make him figure the gas. I make him collect the money.
That's good.
Keep track of what he's got. He's bought 2 mowers now, and then a
Okay.
push mower.
He's building a business.
This will be his 3rd year. He's 14.
Okay.
So he actually drives the tractor from our home, which is about 7 miles away from town, into town with the trailer with the mowers on it, and gets up in the morning, hooks it up himself, loads stuff, gasses up, calls me if he forgot something, you know. And I've had numerous times I'd be in Wabash and he'd run out of gas or something.
Dad.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, you can wait a half an hour or an hour, or I've called Jim Agding's one fella that older fella here in town, doesn't have any grandkids around close. I've got a nice relationship with him. Call him and say, hey, Isaac ran out of gas. Oh, yeah, I'll run him out there.
That's cool.
And then I made him go back and pay Jim for his gas, you know, and just a great learning experience for him.
That teaches them so much.
Yeah, baseball's great, but man, you make it where they got to think about it the night before, and they got to go out there by themselves, and they got to make their own decisions. You know, he called me one time from Stein Tire. He didn't have a cell phone at that time, so he was mowing at the pool store, and he went over to the tire shop and called me and told me he had a tire that was low on his mower. And I said, well, that's great, buddy. I said, I bet they got somebody there that's got some air for that tire. And you heard his wheels turn. He says, I got this, Dad. I'll talk to you later. And he hung up, you know. And so now if he's got a flat tire, he drives it into fire mood. They're in town, you know, a lot of times, and they'll change his tire for him or plug it or whatever he needs.
Yeah.
And I won't hear about it till it's over.
Yeah.
So
the work ethic, I mean, it was instilled in you.
yeah.
Your father.
Yep.
Let's talk about your dad. Who is your father?
Vern Smith Jr. Everybody knew him. Everybody knew him as Junior. He great man. Worked a lot. Worked in Kokomo at Delco and Delphi for 30 years. Electronic engineer. Went to school in Louisville. Just out of high school. Lost his father young. He was about 24, I believe. His dad was 67 when he passed away. My dad told me every day of my life he wished he got to meet my dad. You know, that was what Dad said, and I never thought anything about it. You know, it was just the way it lived. And then my dad passed away when he was 57. I was 30, and so now I sell the same thing to my kids. My daughter met him. She was 2.5. You know, she don't really remember.
Yeah.
You know, my sons never met him, and now I'm telling the same story to my kids, I never dreamed I would. So,
And that's like legacy. You know, I talk about my grandfather who passed away several years ago, but I was like, my kids really didn't know him. I wish you could have met my papa.
yeah, right.
And that's legacy.
Yeah.
Leaving something behind for your kids, where they're saying, "Hey, I wish you could have met that man."
Right, right.
You know?
Everybody's got their shortcomings.
Sure.
My dad had a short fuse, and
So did my papa.
He worked hard, but he always did what he said he was going to.
Yeah.
It didn't matter how high or how far. If he said it, it got done. And so, and he instilled that, and all three of us children are the same way. If we speak it, it's going to happen. And unless it's better that we don't.
Yeah.
Well, and part of the time, sometimes we do it anyways if it
Yeah.
isn't. But, and I'm trying to teach that to my kids. When I had my first child, I mean, she just loved my dad, and he loved kids. And I had all sorts of plans for what my kids would do with Grandpa. He was going to retire, and they could spend time with him in the summertime. And I just looked forward to him teaching them some of the stuff that I learned from him. And then, of course, all that disappeared, and so made me have to step up pretty big and pretty fast. And that was a little bit of a struggle. I was used to asking questions, not answering them.
Sure.
So I quickly found other good men to ask the questions of, which I just have a whole list of great people that have answered questions that I needed to know so I could make a good decision. So, and now I'm getting old enough now, I'm starting to help the younger generations, with marital questions. Hey, should I? No, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Don't invite anybody home.
Well, go ahead and give us some marital advice. What's some marital advice, real quick?
Oh boy, I'm not into that yes ma'am stuff. That doesn't work for me. I poke the bear.
By the bear, I'm saying
5 times a day I test her temperature to see how mad she is.
Okay.
At me, to be honest with you, I mean, she's a great woman. Not another woman out there like that. But I want to. I can never tell what she's thinking. So I just see if she's mad or not. If she's not mad, I move on. If she is, I stay a little bit longer and see if she gets madder or better. So
Okay.
then sometimes it takes a few minutes away again.
You heard it here first, guys, from Matt Smith, Marital Advice 101.
Right.
Poke the bear.
Yeah, I poke the bear. I do. So you just don't want them to. My wife stews on stuff. She holds it in, and it may be 3 weeks, and it takes an hour and a half to get out of what's really irritating her. Something I said 3 weeks ago. So I try to heal them up sooner now.
Sure.
I've had at it.
Sure.
So.
You said something there, and I think it was really powerful to go back to. You were a young man, but you were asking questions to people you trusted, men you trusted, good men.
Oh, yeah.
I don't get asked a whole lot of questions these days, quite honestly.
I disagree. That's not what I bet you do.
I mean, I don't have a whole lot of people knocking on my door to say, hey, because I think the generation below me that's coming, they're not really interested in our opinion. Honestly, that's how it feels sometimes. They're not necessarily interested in what dad has to say or what neighbor has to say. Why do you think that would be?
Well, I think they definitely they can look it up now, or we couldn't. They can YouTube how to do something, may get them started.
Yeah.
I have seen some of that with some of the kids. They needed to ask sooner, and they wouldn't be as much trouble.
Like, why didn't you just ask?
Right.
I had my boy or something,
Right.
he's 16. I'm like, what, Bubba, why don't you just ask me?
Right. Now, my youngest wouldn't ask. My middle child grew up really with me a lot more, and he's watching. He's so far, he's getting to that age. I'll get dumber here real soon, and I'm warning him about it because it did for my dad too. Yeah. And I've been telling him, and I've seen a few sparks of that, and where he's sure he knows what he's doing, and he, in my opinion, it isn't quite where he should go. But I'm going to try to let him live a little bit there. Try not to ride it quite as hard in that. I know I've instilled the right things the best I could.
Yeah.
He's got a good shot. I watch him interact with people. He makes eye contact. He'd rather call you than text you, which is a great thing today because that conversation goes a long way. People like to listen to podcasts,
Sure.
Instead of reading them.
Yeah. Yep.
It makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Just that there's just nobody that spends much time with him that doesn't like him. So.
Yeah. Man, I don't really, we've met in passing, your daughter played basketball and stuff, but I don't really know you. So, answer just a few questions here. What do people say about you? What makes you Matt? What makes you Matt? If you were to look through somebody's lens, what are they going to say about you?
Well, again, I'm relentless. So once I start something, I finish it, and everybody knows that. Everybody knows I'm a worker. Nobody's ever considered me lazy. That just doesn't happen. But I talk a lot. Everybody knows I put my foot in my mouth. I'm not afraid of saying that I did. I'd much rather win the conversation than lose. That is a shortcoming, but that's the way I was raised.
Mm-hmm.
I hope they see that I'm a godly man. What I look for, I've watched the older guys. Warren Garner was one that I watched him deal with people and the love pour out of him, and yet just a great man. And I wanted that, and so I've worked hard to try to do that and try to think of what Jesus would do instead of what I would do, to try to get just a better me out there.
Yeah.
Take me out and put him in.
So faith is a big thing to you. And you said a godly man. Well, what is a godly man?
Well, godly man's somebody that goes and talks to Jesus in any way they see fit. I mean, there's no right and wrong. There's no time limit. There's no setting. So, but you got to know who's really in charge. And so, and you got to recheck that every day, because I mean, maybe 15 times a day. So I caught myself last night not sleeping, and when you're not sleeping at night, you need to be praying. Sometimes for yourself, but a lot of times for somebody else.
Yeah.
And so I started praying, and 2 nights ago I prayed for a young man, and I got up in the morning smart enough, and I texted him and told him I was praying for him, and I got a nice text back that he appreciated. He'd been going through some stuff, and so that's just a great time to get to do that stuff. Again, growing with age. So
just so you know, Matt is, he's a business owner. He's a busy guy. We got him on the podcast on a whim, and his phone's going off like crazy. That's what it's like to be a business owner, right? Phone never stops. But I like your perspective on a godly man. I think there can be confusion in that. I don't think there needs to be, but there is, because there's so many perceptions and theological persuasions of what makes a Christian, what makes a man godly, what makes a person godly. And so I appreciate your values of faith.
Effort.
Yeah.
I think effort is there's so many, there's no level, there's no super spot, there's no goal to hit.
Yeah.
If you think you made it, you've missed it. So, and I watched that again through that, like Warren Garner, he was 80 something. He was going to 2 Sunday school classes, every Sunday morning, because he loved to be involved with some of the younger guys. He wanted this group he had, but I can't quit coming here because I'm learning things, and being spread and being opened up. And so, just, you can't stop. You got to just keep digging in. So, because
it is a relationship.
Oh yeah,
it's like any other relationship, And I preached about it a couple of weeks ago about what loving God looks like, and it's relational. Yep. It's like my wife and I. If I don't come home, like, there is actions to the relationship part of it. It's like, I can tell you I love you all I want, but if there's no actions to follow, then it doesn't mean anything. It's just like with the Lord too. If there's no actions, there has to be actions to prove that you actually do love something. Like, you can't just say you love God and not obey His commands or read His Word or pray, and we're always growing.
Oh yeah, and that you said there, as far as what you put in, and you mentioned your wife. I've learned a lot through different things at church about when you come home, try to be positive. Even if you had a bad day, don't start on her, or your day's going to get worse. I promise. As soon as you made her mad, you just did whatever you had. So that's, and I do the same thing with my employees. In the morning, I try to be positive. Ask them how their weekend was, or evening.
Yeah.
Even if they just ran into the building with the truck, I really try, and it happens. I really try not to be just an end all, because once you pull somebody down that's already not having a good day, you're not going to get anything out of them the rest of the day.
Yeah.
So it took a lot of years for me to learn that. You just can't beat on me enough. It isn't going to make any difference to me, but other individuals aren't set up that way. So. I'm compassionate to old people and young people, the people that you should be compassionate to.
Sure.
The middle, I think a lot of times I think you should be pulling your own. I mean, now and again, as I got older, there is depression. There are things that happen that they can't control, and that's hard for me to really wrap around, but I'm trying to be a little more patient with it. So I don't have those troubles. I'm very blessed not to, and so I should be able to help them when they are. So,
so as we're kind of going back and forth from leadership and legacy and fathering and relationship and our faith, but like as a leader, how do you deal, you're a godly man, how do you deal with the hard stuff in your business, like the confrontational stuff? Like, it's not all peaches and cream, right?
No. There's always something. I try to pray about it the night before. Usually I try to do it the next day or an hour later or something, instead of what I used to just react. And I try to step back. I try to look at their perspective. a lot of times, again, I still like mine better, but I try to look at it. I try to see where they're standing when that situation happened, and then try to adjust to it. If someone's lying, they're just lying. There's nothing you can do about that. If people aren't doing what they really know they should be doing, you can't fix that. All you can do is try to come alongside them. There's a experience years ago. I can't tell you how many years ago, but there was a contractor had an employee here close, and he was having a bad way, just bad time with his wife, just really stressed out. He went and came to work, and the employer had just had enough of him. Just, hey, if you're not going to be ready to work, just get out. You know? And so the guy goes ahead and goes to work, and he comes over to one of my job sites, and he's talking to my employees, and they're just really, really, he's stressed out, and he's looking for a fix. He needs help, and he ends up leaving. And that night he ends up going home, picking up his kids, putting them in the car, going out behind the house, shooting his wife, and shot himself in the head on the tree stump. This guy committed suicide, killed his wife, and committed suicide that night. And ever since then, when I have an employee that comes to me, if I know they've got trouble, period, I try to make sure that they feel like I'm in it with them. What can I do something? Or can I give you some advice to get you started on the right track? I've never had anything quite that scenario yet, and I'm hoping to never, but I know that employer, that man, he had an opportunity. He knows he had an opportunity. Not to say I'm not throwing stones. Put me in the same situation, same day, I might have done the exact same thing. We don't know where the devil's pulling on us when we do things. Sure. But I made a vow that day that that's not going to happen to me. And as best I can, I'm going to try to help people when they need it. So that was just a rough situation. There wasn't anybody that felt good about it, period. And so he was lost, and he was stressed, and made poor choices, in my opinion.
I love the drive of entrepreneurship. Like, I love that. I love it. I love that it takes the work. Like, you're in the trenches most of the time. But what kind of advice would you give to somebody who's getting ready to start up a business? Like, you're in it, man. You're in it every single day. And I love that about you. You're like an owner. Well, you say your wife actually owns the business. You just work for her. Right. I think that's how you put it. But, you're in the trenches with your employees. What kind of advice would you give to a new entrepreneur?
Don't get too big too fast. Know what you got. Know where your finances are. Get comfortable with it. The big will come if it's there. Do what you know and do it well. Again, when I say big too fast, employees immediately cause stress. If you can keep it to where you're working by yourself until you're comfortable, you got a little bit of stash of money built up, so you've paid for your tools, and you got the truck you need to do your job, and you're ready to roll. Partnerships are very challenging. They were hard 50 years ago, and they're 50 times harder than they were 50 years ago. With all the media and all the input and all the different information and our wants and needs that we didn't used to have, partnerships are just really challenging, but they're the first thing everybody wants to go to, because then they got somebody to lean on. Sure. Get a good friend to lean on that's not got his hands in your pocket or your pockets. And
dude, that's so good.
Just get away from that.
That's such good advice.
And that's been the advice I've given for the last 10 years is if you don't have to, don't. Start two separate, write them right next to each other, work every day, keep everything separate. And I watch those relationships working real well. It only takes one wife to be mad at the other wife to ruin anything you might have ever built.
Noticed he said wife.
Well, and I say that because
I'm just kidding.
But that's what I see.
Yeah.
The ladies are stressed too.
Sure.
They get their feelings hurt. Men don't get their feelings hurt near as easy. So
unless you're Nick Kopke.
Right. Well, we've talked about that before, but
which Nick is in the studio today.
Right. I mean, but compassion goes a long way. So he's got all of it. So, him and I are different when it comes to compassion and not compassion. He's got it, I don't. So we'll get to the same point. We just go a different road. Yeah. But that's the largest thing. I've helped quite a few guys that started as partnerships try to separate out what they could do. One's good at the business, one's good at the work. Still not going to work. Come then when something goes wrong, when you fall short on your side, what are you going to do to help out the other guy? That's a rough road because your wife ain't willing to give up anymore. Yeah, she's already give up your time and your energy. And when I started my own business, I told my wife that I'd be able to set my own schedule. I could work when I wanted to work.
Well, that's such a lie.
And I'd be my own boss.
Well, you're a liar.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't when I said it. Looking back, I am. Yes, that was. And yeah, she laughs about it still. But now, when I ask her if I should, she said no. It was definitely worth it. So. She's very intelligent. She's got a master's in accounting, so I'm taken care of on the finance
books,
side.
huh? She takes care of the books for you.
Yep, she does all the books. I'm frugal, so raised that way. So I don't waste it in general. I might lose it, but I didn't waste it.
Yeah.
So and I like working for it. I like to complete projects. I like to make people happy. So
Yeah.
it makes it it's a good life for me.
What's the dream for your company? What's the goal?
Oh, I made it quite a few years ago.
Okay.
My dream was to build my own, build a new home for an individual. I worked probably 7, 8, 9 years, and I never got that opportunity. I built on the houses. I built barns. I'd done all sorts of things, but I never built a new home. But I barn swoggled my confusing people and got them that I could do it, and I did it and loved it, and it was great. And I've built a home or two every year since. So,
oh, wow. Okay.
which is great. I've probably 22, 23 homes now I've got to build. So
How do you manage to do? Okay, you own the business and you also have the construction business. Like, how do you do? Like, what does that look? What does a day for Matt look like?
Well, I have a consistent non-schedule. That is my.
Okay.
I get up at
Consistent non-schedule.
Yes, I get up at the same time every morning unless I have to get up early.
What time is that?
I usually get up about 6:45.
Okay. Dang, that's late.
Well, it is, but I go.
That's late, Matt.
I go to about 11:30.
Okay.
Usually my meetings are over about 8 to 8:30, depending on how windy I get. If I get windy, then it goes a little longer. So, but a lot of nights I get home. 7. I try to be home by 7. So when you leave the house at 7:15 and get home at 7:00, you've been away from home long enough.
Long day.
If you don't, now I see my wife during the day most of the time now because she works at the store. When I'm out on site, I have to be a little careful because if I go 4 or 5 days, then she starts getting touchy with me because I just haven't had enough time with her, and what time I have spent with her, I've been tired. So we do a date night every month. No matter what.
Once a month?
We do a date night when I decided that she just yelled at me for something that I didn't do. Within 2 days, I start planning for date night. You can laugh if you want. I'm telling you, best thing ever. Date
That's
night.
cracking me up so much, dude.
And you got to take her somewhere where everyone doesn't know you.
Because they don't interruptions.
Oh yeah, and so I have to go to Warsaw, Huntington, or Rochester.
For those who don't know, Matt's like the president of North Manchester. Everybody knows him. He's always shaking hands, kissing babies.
Right, and I do, and I love babies, and I love to shake hands. So, and I like people. So,
I like this guy, man. I like this guy a lot. That's so cool. So real quick, how many hours do you work per day?
Usually strong 10. 10
so 10, and
about the least.
Do you work Monday through Friday, or is it Saturday included?
Saturday. The last 4 or 5 years, I haven't worked a lot of Saturdays on site and or at the lumberyard. I actually built my own home on Saturdays a few years ago.
Of course you did.
Right. So I had to make some time away so I could do that. And
I love this guy already.
And
thanks, Nick.
Yeah, I did do that, and my wife, family helped. I had good friends that came and helped different days, and it was a great experience. It took longer than she wanted. I'm happy with what we have. I'm not quite finished. I got just a few things on the outside left to do, but she's been mentioning. I think she's ready for me to finish it. So
date night. When is date night now?
Date night is.
Have you already had it this month?
Let's see. No, not this month because of my back surgery. I tried Saturday and she had other plans. I thought then we were going to do it Sunday, and then she had other plans in the week with the kids and stuff. We don't. Yeah. Every once in a while we'll get away on a week. We're doing something either Saturday or Sunday or Friday this week, whether she likes it or not.
So when you're taking Elizabeth out on town, where's Matt taking her? I
like to take her to the hibachi steak place in Warsaw, there across from, I think it's Walgreens or Center Street. And
okay.
That's good. I'd rather go to the Hacienda any day. Hacienda Mexican restaurants. I eat. When you get down chips already, when I sit down, give it to me. I can't. I don't have to pay for my appetizer. I'm all in. So as long as they can bring me drinks, so I don't dry out, we're good to go. That's she likes to go to the Panda Express.
Okay.
Every once in a while I take her there and I eat while I'm there, but it's not my favorite.
Yeah.
We went to the Asian buffet quite a few times down in Wabash with the family. And
Never
stuff.
been there.
You ought to go. It's a good time. It's a whole family working hard down there. It makes me feel good when I go in. So I know they care all the way across the board. You know, and there's a lot of options, and it may not everything be for you, but they're trying. And I'd much rather spend my money where somebody's working for it. So I like to go to the El Mez here in town and the other I can't remember what's the Vulcan.
Okay.
I'll do them both. I'm not against either one. They're both families working hard.
Yeah.
So, and I'd love to help them when I'm going to eat somewhere. I'd like to share it with
So
them.
if I take you to El Mez, what are you eating?
A lot of times it's fajita steak taco salad. Been trying to lose weight.
Okay.
Just got heavy from drinking pop and eating bad food and non-exercising.
Hanging around Nick Kopke. That'll do it.
And I was trying to lose weight so I could have back surgery, which I got done because I knew I'd get fatter when I got sat down. So changed my eating habits, really, just trying to eat a little bit better. So, but I'm not a hot and spicy guy. I just keep bringing the chips. The chips and salsa never have to end for me, ever.
It's taco day every day around here.
I never have to quit. So I've ate 3 times at the Mexican restaurant during a week before.
Oh.
Tuesday is Taco Tuesday. You know, if you want to see me, I'm between 12:15 and 1 o'clock. I'm going to be there. So, and then sales reps will come and they want to take me to dinner. It's nice to visit there. You don't have to worry about being too loud So, and I like a round table when I'm talking to a group. So, so they'll go there and then they get a little bit of this. They have to get a couple stories so they know where I stand. That when I ask for something, that's what I want, and I'm willing to do. I'm not pulling their chain, and I'm not asking for something I don't want.
Yeah.
So.
What's that new taco? I can't think of it. The taco stand here in town.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yes.
Calm down, studio.
Yeah.
Las Gordas. Have you ever had Las Gordas?
I have. I don't like corn tortillas. Theirs are great.
Yeah,
I don't like them.
So you're a flour tortilla kind of guy. That's a huge question.
Yeah.
Flour or corn?
Well, just 100%. And I don't like corn chips. I like, there's just certain, they don't like me. And so I don't eat them. So, but they do have flour sometime there, and I have had their El Pastor tacos, and they are phenomenal.
Yeah. So. I like the.
Did you get the street corn yet?
I'm not a big fan of street corn.
Well, I'm not a fan of corn, period. So I haven't had it. But the guys that like it, man, they say it's just awesome.
Does it have like mayonnaise in it or something?
I don't know. I was dried cheese and butter, and I don't know.
Dried cheese, butter, mayonnaise, and cayenne.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know if I would like it. I've tried it. I think I've tried it. I don't think I liked it.
They also will do the roasted peppers. They do the.
No, I do like
poblanos
that. Yeah,
and,
I do like that.
I watch the guys. A lot of guys be sweating when they're eating it there at the lumberyard. I believe we spent $76 on Friday. The 3 or 4 guys that went down there, they got a free pop because it was the order of the day. So we do support the taco. And then they got what's the Crunch and Munch? He comes in and gets your tenderloin. I mean,
kind of like that country kitchen style.
Yeah, country kitchen. Yep, it's a great restaurant. I like to eat, and I like to sit down with someone when I eat. So
we're gonna have to sit down and have some dinner or lunch sometime.
When I eat by myself, I'm not very happy because it takes about 3.5 minutes. It's gone, and I'll forget I ate lunch.
Yep.
So it's my chance to kind of just let it get a break in the middle of the day.
Yeah. So help me out here. I'm coming on 40 years old and be next September. So I'm going to turn 39 this September, and next year I'll be 40. And how old are you?
I'm 45 last month.
45. So you're quite older than I am, and I don't get me wrong, I love old people. Yep. And
I'm good with that. My back went out when I was 39, brother. I'll tell you what.
So how long have you been married?
22 years.
22 years.
Yep.
Man, we're very similar. I'll be married 20 years next year. But give me some advice, man. I could see, we got a lot of what do they say? Not briars in the fire. What's the saying? Irons in the fire.
Yep.
Got a lot of irons in the fire.
Yep.
I'm very motivated, very driven. Yep. I'm I am a pastor here at this church. Pastor Sabrina's the lead pastor. I'm the associate pastor. Yep. And, I love leadership. I love the entrepreneur. I love that vibe. Give me some advice, man.
Well, for me, when you got to obviously pour into your kids as much as you can. My daughter's a lot like my sister, and so it's challenging sometimes to communicate with her because we don't agree, and that's okay too. You got to tell them the truth. I don't think that you can befriend somebody and hushy-gushy them around and expect to better them at all. So you got to hold people to something. You can help them, and you got to invite people in. into your life. You got to let people, come in and have dinner. Come in, go do something with them. Brother Way of Christ, I've got involved in that years and years ago, and I've been back quite a few times. Great group of men, just people to come around you and do great things. You just can't beat that stuff. So less time watching football and more time playing football, I guess is what I would say.
That's good advice right there.
There was
Say that again.
Less time watching football and more time playing football. There was a minister here from Malawi, Africa. I went on a mission trip, and he came up before I left, and I got to visit with him. And they asked him in a Sunday school class what the Americans are doing wrong, and he said Sunday football. He says, first of all, you guys don't play the right kind of football because that's soccer over there. But why are you doing it on Sunday? He didn't understand that, and so that was about the end of me being real serious about watching football on Sunday. I'm not saying I haven't, but I don't miss something else because of football on Sunday.
Oh, so, man.
I don't. Yeah. I'm not going to miss something.
I don't actually watch. My football is always on Saturday because I'm college football. Okay. I don't necessarily like the NFL.
Right.
I think it's boring. But
I think it's all getting more. It's just different. I don't like to watch whiners in person. I definitely don't want to watch them on TV. I don't care who they are or what they are. I don't like them. I don't like whiners.
That's so good.
I was a whiner growing up. My dad would tell you I whined about everything, and Nick will tell you I still do. So maybe I just don't like looking in the mirror. So I'm always been the squeaky wheel. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking about what's going on, where we're going to be, and what's going to happen. So that's the way I grew up. So
that's such good advice, man.
Yeah.
And I be where your feet are. That's something I've been trying to live by. Is wherever my feet are, that's where I am. Be present where I am. So if I'm with my kids, don't be jacking around on my cell phone. Right. And I mean, I love Instagram. I love social media. I just do. I use it as a tool, resources, but sometimes it does take me in too. So, but being present in my marriage, being present with my kiddos, being present as a pastor, but when I'm not here, don't be here. If I'm home, be at home with my family, like you said in your business, you can't take your business home every day or you're going to lose your family.
Yeah, you just can't do that. And with kids, they don't need phones. Mm-hmm. We didn't give ours any too early, and we've been blessed for it. We, make them learn how to make a decision ahead of time. Not that I'll text you later. They sit there in limbo for hours, not knowing that they could have made that decision early. I watched some of these younger guys that come work for me that grew up with phones and being connected all the time, and they'll sweat when they aren't. Their phone battery dies and they don't know what to do. Unless you're hammering that nail in with that phone, I don't care, son. I mean, set that down. Let's go.
I love it.
And there's been I have comments. You work a little faster with both hands.
Oh, come on, give us some of those comments. If I'm on your job site, Matt, and I'm jacking around on my phone and I'm tweeting and Facebook.
I don't know. Foot and rear end theory. Okay. I say it with 3 letters. One starts with A, one ends with an S, and the other one of them is duplicate. So, but that's foot and rear end theory is one that I use that gets people's attention. I lead by example. I don't work halfway. If it's raining, I'm out there. If it's cold, I'm out there. I would never ask anybody to do something that I wouldn't do. And so, and I expect them to give me their all. Not everybody can reach because they're short. Not everybody, sometimes tall guys don't fit. I mean, I can understand that, but don't be looking at your watch when we're working. I'll tell you when we're done. There ain't too many left. I mean, but what I do like is I did that with a huge group of young men, probably 25 of them, from when they were, say, 16 to 21. And there's a huge group of young men now that are now 30, 35. They're all running their own businesses. And they'll tell me, it's like, hey, I remember this day, Smith. You remember when we were doing that? And then you told me this, and I really like that. That is as poorly as it was put out there, that they got something good out of it. So that's awesome to watch, and they this ain't that bad, and so because I remember working for different employers. I just visited my first employer just the other day, and he says, "Remember this and remember this." I said, "Yeah, I remember it." And he said, "It ain't like that no more." I said, "No, but the generations before us will tell you the same thing."
Yeah, they do.
The generations, that is a generational thing. All we can do is do our best now. So the world needs stronger men in the household. You can't hear that enough. they talk about, different, say board members and different things. And there's lots of females doing that now, which is great. Just because their husbands aren't, before you had a male as a board member, and he went home and discussed what he'd said with her, and she helped correct it, so it was better for the world, and
Sure.
it came back. He does not ask her what she said at the board, and they don't discuss. I don't think it's as easy to go the other way, because it's a lot harder to understand what the women are saying than it is for the women to understand what the men are saying. So I think that's made a big difference in how some of these things have come about that we don't know how they got here. Well, that's how they got here. So yes, ma'am is correct. I agree, but you lead your household. And if you lead it in God's manner, then you're going to do just fine. So,
Dude, you're really sharing some good values. Like, I never knew you were really that deep, kind of.
Right.
I thought you were just a guy who owned a lumber yard.
Right.
But you're a lot deeper than that, man.
I talk a lot, so I got to be careful what I say. So I talk in my sleep also.
Oh, you
So-
do?
Oh, yeah. I'll answer questions. I'll add. I'll
We should have
subtract.
done the podcast at night then.
We can. My wife, I'll add and subtract. I can do all sorts of things. My wife will ask me questions, write things down, and show me the next day. So I've never said I wouldn't answer it. So I've never fell asleep with a lie with my wife.
Yeah.
There's never been one time that I haven't told her before I went to bed what I did that day. So
Yeah.
So I didn't tell her when I went to sleep.
No, that's so good. Give me, and we're gonna wrap this thing up. I'm not sure where we're at on time. Timmy, can you tell me real quick? 48. So we're doing good here. 5 things. Give me 5 things, if you can, that make up a man.
Oof, 5 things. Well, we aren't going to go to the obviously genitalia. We ain't going to start that route. But head of the household's being a man. Standing up for what they believe is being a man, I'd say. Leading is being a man. Let's see, need 2 more.
I've heard you say it the whole thing. Mean what you say what
right,
you mean.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Go out there and do what do what you're preaching. If you're telling somebody, then you can't go turn around and do it the other way. And 5th one, easy. Don't be afraid to fail. We fail every day. There is none of us that are perfect. Jesus was the only perfect one. So you got to go out and fail. You got to go out and come up short so you can learn and you can get better. You got to stretch yourself. You got to try things that you would never think you would have done. Stand up in front of the congregation and tell somebody something. That is not easy. If you pray before you get up there, you do just fine.
Yeah.
You'll get exactly what there may be the next guy up 5 times worse than you is so excited you were an idiot. That's the way most of the time when I do things, I make it easier for everybody else because I just go out there like I didn't know nothing and try it. So
Yeah.
But that's probably, I don't know how many that was. It was close to 5.
We're up there.
Yeah. So, those are really it. You just got to go out there and do what you say. So, and say what you mean.
Man, dude, Matt, it has been a privilege to have you on the show. We haven't even, I think, scratched the surface with like all of you are, because you're really amazing. You're a business owner. You run 2 businesses, but more importantly, you're a husband of 22 years, and you're a father of 3 amazing kids.
Yep, that's right.
And you're a man of value. This is what I see after this interview, right? I see you're a man of value, integrity, wisdom, patience.
I'm going to have to come here often. Can we do this once a week? And I get pretty used to this.
Right.
That's right.
Well, I do believe, this podcast is all about, normal people sharing extraordinary stories. And the fact that you've been married 22 years is an extraordinary story. The fact that you're fathering 3 kids, an extraordinary story. The fact that you're a business leader, extraordinary. That's all extraordinary. Right. It should be celebrated.
Right. Well, I agree, but don't forget, it isn't like we're only shooting the positives of the mountaintop right now. I got all the shortcomings that everybody else had. I've come up with them. I do them on a Tuesday.
Well, come on, then lay it out there. What's your biggest struggle?
Oh, biggest struggle.
Come on, lay it out there. If you're going to talk about it, talk about it.
Biggest struggle. Probably listening to what my wife's saying wholeheartedly. That's probably my largest struggle.
You're going to have to explain that.
Trying not to answer her questions when she asks the question because she doesn't want an answer. Yeah. Even when she sits me down and says, I just want to tell you, please don't answer. I failed that 100% of the time. I've never made it yet. I think if she taped my mouth shut, I could mumble it well enough to my eyes would give it away.
So Matt doesn't know when to shut up.
No, that's a given. No, I'm there. but I'm willing to work through when, like I said, if I said it, I'll fix it. You know,
Yeah.
if I made a mistake, I'll go back and find it. So, and the fact that I don't have to stand still to do it, I wouldn't make any money if I had to stand still when I talked. So
You're doing really good today, though.
right,
We actually have a seatbelt on, Matt. You just
Right.
can't see it.
Right.
He's strapped in.
right. Right, but if you needed to, we could have had this conversation carrying the chairs out there. It wouldn't bother me a bit.
The chairs you're talking about. We had an entire football. We had 10 of the Manchester University Spartan football players in here ripping out the seats in the sanctuary, that was really cool too.
They did a great job.
The conversations we were getting in.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
I was going to tackle the one, but he looked bigger than me, so
Yeah.
I moved on to the next, and I'm hiding in this little closet in the corner because they look just fine.
They're big, and they said they want to be on the podcast, so we're going to have them on the
that'd be
podcast here for
awesome.
too long. You know, I love hearing their perspective.
You know, I was on the Habitat for Humanity. I've done some builds and different things here in town, and we had the soccer team, the college soccer team came down and built one day. We had a girls volleyball team, I think basketball team. We've had a whole bunch of different, seeing those kids from different areas, different locations, getting conversations with them was neat. I won't say that the girls were more aggressive than the boys the one time, but the soccer teams, I felt bad for the boys soccer because the girls were more apt to grab the nail gun than the boys were.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, great things.
Man, awesome. Matt, it has been a great privilege to have you on the podcast today. Thank you for just sharing what you shared and being transparent, vulnerable, and honest.
Awesome.
Thank you, man, for being here.
Appreciate that.
Guys, this is episode number 5. Be sure, like we said, to subscribe to the channel, like it, and share it. Thanks for tuning in. Dude, Matt, you're killing me, man. Oh, my gosh. You crack me up, dude.
I'm trying not to get too windy. I can go.
Oh, my God.